morning, good afternoon, good evening. Remember 17th November 2017. Some people have called the day Zungu Day. On that day, Zimbabweans, their hundreds of thousands, poured out into the street to show their support of the military coup that had ousted Mugabe. If the truth be told, I think one can say millions of Zimbabweans supported the coup. May not have had the chance to be on the street, but on social media, for instance, many people praised the coup. There are two main reasons really why so many Zimbabweans supported the coup. The first and obvious one is that they had tried to remove Robert Mugabe from office for 37 years, without success. And here was the coup now doing the job that they had failed to do all those time. And so, yeah, they supported the coup. But in it also lies the second reason why the coup had successfully managed to do what they themselves had failed to do. The truth of the matter is, Robert Mugabe has managed to stay in power for all those 37 years because he was able to rig the elections. Like it or not, democracy had not worked in Zimbabwe. We can pretend all we want that we're having elections, but those elections were just a waste of time. Zanu PF blatantly rigged the elections. And we had failed to come up with a solution of how to fix it. That was the problem. To pretend otherwise is naive. So, in many ways, the people were celebrating that the coup had managed to remove Mugabe, but they were also celebrating the primeval mighty is right instinct. To the ordinary people, mighty is right is definitely more relevant than what the people had been trying to talk about all along: democracy and rule of law. I believe that the Gesa 31st March uprising is having the same call of the wild appeal. Here are some of the pictures that have been circulating. Violence, the house being burned down. This case here really doesn't matter whose house is being burned down. What matters is it is being destroyed. And this has had a special appeal to the animal instinct of the Zimbabweans. The mighty is right appeal. And this has now been coupled by the sophistication that Geza and some of his supporters have brought in. This is a video of a demonstration and an explanation of the drones that will be used on Monday.
Ndakakurudzira nyika yese munhu wese ane drone simudza drone. Isusu madrone edu anenge achiflya very high. Tinenge takalinka macoordinates tedu tichiflya very very high. Initiate and link headset. Copy device. Falcon, Romeo, Foxtrot. Initiate sequence. Aztec, Falcon 8, flight. Copy. 50 units. Link Starlink communication system. Device ready. Initiate contact. 50 drones. Network system already set. Initiate distance recording. Zone range, Harare Central. Command systems. Vocal recognition. Alpha, Romeo. Delta, Foxtrot. November, Sierra. Initiate distress call. Activities. Running, violence. Facial recognition features. Facial recognition features. Assignment. Copy. Copy that. Copy. Initiate. Initiate helmet. Assign 2500 drone. November. Foxtrot. Delta. Sierra. Copy. Channel command protocol. Link Starlink. Initiate code Delta. Protection unit 50. Surveillance units 2500. Facial recognition system. Initiate. Assignment feature facial adaptation. Command protocol. Initiate. Repeat. Latitude -17.82162.880. Initiate. Longitude 31.04922590. Initiate. Initiate vocal processing. Initiate code Foxtrot. Coordination, latitude, longitude, coordinates.
I don't have to play it to the end, but I think we get the message. As much as this appeals to some people, what people must realize here is that even if the the blessed Geza uprising succeeds, by supporting it, just as we supported the coup before it, we are also endorsing this culture of violence, this the one-party dictatorship system. We are endorsing the reality that it can only be changed. In Zimbabwe, we can only have regime change if you have got the power to stage a coup or to cause violence or have the technical know-how to conduct a James Bond style spy operation. Is this really what we want in Zimbabwe? Because let's be honest, the millions of ordinary Zimbabweans have no meaningful say in the governance of the country because they don't have access to those things. And if the truth be said, Zimbabwe is a failed state because we've been stuck for 45 years and counting with this Zanu PF dictatorship that can only be changed by a military coup, threat to violence, or somebody with the technical know-how to fly drones and meet the regime at its own game. This is getting us nowhere. We do not want the violence. We do not want the coup. Because we want to restore the rule of law. We want to restore the rights and freedoms of all Zimbabweans, including the right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country. Why has democracy failed in Zimbabwe? I think that is a good question, and one which we have failed to address in a meaningful and open manner. And hence the reason why we are in this mess. As much as people have said, you could not argue with somebody carrying an AK-47 rifle. In 1980, when Zanu PF, Robert Mugabe and his cronies instructed their operatives in the ground that if Zanu PF does not win, the bush war would continue. I think one cannot argue that the ordinary people had no choice but to vote to end the bush war. True that might be. Still, as a nation, that should have set alarm bells ringing. Because one man, one vote had been one of the key requirements key issues that the nation was fighting for in the fight for independence. In the fight for independence. And for Zanu PF to suddenly say, no, we are going to brush that aside, that should have set alarm bells ringing. That is not right. We cannot deny that for the last 45 years, the country had many opportunities to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. The best opportunity was during the GNU of 2008 to 2013. Zimbabweans themselves should have understood that the GNU's primary purpose was to implement the democratic reforms. Why, in this day and age, many people out there still have no clue what the GNU was about is something that every Zimbabwean should be concerned about. Because, like it or not, you cannot have a healthy and functioning democracy when you have got an electorate that is ignorant, naive, and gullible. The ancient Greeks, the nation that gave humanity democracy as a government of the people, for the people, by the people. All those 2,500 years ago, identified back then that democracy only works if the people are educated, knowledgeable, objective, and above all, they are diligent in holding those in positions of power and authority to account. Why have Zimbabweans failed to learn those things? With the benefit of history in this day and age, we cannot run away from that. To keep reverting to the primeval survival of the fittest, dominate or be dominated, is, to say the least, naive. Because, like I said, the people supported the coup in 2017. But what did it bring? All it did is that those who were with the guns decided who was going to be the next president. And all that happened was we swapped one dictator for another. And nothing else changed. 8 years down the line, if anything, corruption has got worse. The tyrannical oppression has got even worse. Many people have been saying that moving from the Mugabe rule to Mnangagwa rule was jumping from the frying pan into the fire. And it's true. This Gaza uprising has already made it clear that they want to replace Mnangagwa with Chiwenga. They've been unequivocal on that point. Do we really not know who Chiwenga is? He is the VP He's the vice president now. He has been part and parcel of the post 2017 government. He is the man who issued the order to carry out the coup. In this picture, he is seen holding the constitution. This was just a few weeks before the coup itself in 2017. He was claiming that the army was there to defend the coup, the constitution. Of course, that was nonsense. After the coup, they got one of the judges to say the coup was legal, justified, and constitutional. But even he, Justice George Chiweshe, could not quote which chapter and verse in the Constitution said the coup was justified, the coup was constitutional. Because there's no such chapter and verse. Chiwenga has been part of the Zanu PF dictatorship dating back to the Liberation War itself. After independence, he played his role in the creation and the imposition of the Zanu PF one-party dictatorship. And he was duly rewarded for his contribution as one of the high-ranking army officials. He took a lion's share of the loot. It's no secret that Chiwenga has mansions, has farms, there's fleet of Porsche cars. In one of the divorce applications with one of his wives, it was revealed that he had 45 gold watches. It's interesting that Geza has come out attacking Mnangagwa for being corrupt. No one can deny that Mnangagwa is corrupt. There's no doubt about it. But the list that Geza produced is very selective. It left out people like Chiwenga. And Geza himself is known that he's not that poor either. So the whole argument is this uprising is not going to be any different from the 2017 coup, in that all it will do is replace one dictator and a few of his close friends with another dictator. How anyone should think that would improve the country's position beggars belief. I reiterate at this platform that the only way Zimbabwe is going to get out of its economic and political mess is if we restore the freedoms and fundamental rights of all Zimbabweans, including the right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country. At the present moment, they do not have a meaningful say. The coup confirmed that ordinary Zimbabweans have no meaningful say. unachieved regime change because of the coup. Yet it had taken 37 years. And interestingly enough, the people who had maintained Mugabe in power all those 37 years were the ones who finally removed him because they were tired of him. And the same people who are now behind this so-called Geza revolution are the ones who are removing Mnangagwa because they're tired of him. And guess what? They're putting their own men. We are just going round and round in circles here. And this whole idea of this appeal is, in my view, a nuisance. Idiotic. We may find this mighty is right appealing to our animal instinct, but the truth of the matter is it is getting us nowhere. We're just going round and round in circles. We do not want this Geza 31st March uprising with all its violence and with all its technology, because it's only confirming that something we already know. Zimbabwe's political culture of violence. That change can only be brought by those who have the ability to carry out a coup or acts of violence or carry out some James Bond type spying activities. The ordinary Zimbabwean do not have the ability to do those things. And so they're being denied a meaningful say in the governance of the country. We do not want the coup. We do not want Geza and his uprising. We want to end the dictatorship. We want to implement the democratic reforms to dismantle the dictatorship. It is not rocket science that the 2008 to 2013 GNU was the golden opportunity to implement those democratic reforms. Why millions of people still have no clue what the GNU was about, make us believe. But like it or not, that is where we need to go back. We need to do our homework, find out what the GNU was all about. What are these democratic reforms? Because only then can we meaningfully embrace democracy and rule of law. As for this mighty is right, this will get us nowhere. We're just wasting our time here. Well, somebody says here, Viva Geza, Viva. Well, doesn't matter. Yes, we can all say that. And why not? But at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, gas and company, if they're successful, they will have Chiwenga as president. And let me tell you now, Chiwenga is not going to implement even one token reform and risk losing power. Just as Mnangagwa did not implement even one token reform post 2017 military coup. The argument I've said is still as valid regarding the coup as it is regarding this 31st March case uprising. As long as might is right, then those who have got the power will dictate to the nation's destiny. And this is what they've been doing this last 45 years. This is why where we are now, a failed state. If you want change, you've got to have a change of the system. Think about it. Thank you very much, those who were able to join. And I hope you'll be able to do it again at 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time on the same channel. Thank you and have a good day.